What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another rankings video for All Takes No Whiffs. I'm Alex, and that's Christian, and we are continuing our top 10 players at each position. And we are moving to our last position player in right field, and this is a star-studded premier position again. So I'm super excited to get into it.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say it. Of course, save it for the end. Those who know. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this as well, and I'm gonna be getting right into this. My number 10 right fielder in baseball, I've got Hunter Renfroe of the Los Angeles Angels, formerly on the Milwaukee Brewers, and had a stint with the Red Sox too. But this guy, for the past few years, honestly, has just been a really solid name all around in baseball. I'm a big fan of what he brings to the table, the pop at the plate and the arm in the outfield. 11 outfield assists in 2022. That was third in all of the MLB. Hunter Renfroe is legit. He's a guy that he's a mainstay on a team in my opinion. The only thing is that I feel like teams are making moves for him when they need somebody solid to fill that position.
Oh yeah, and I have Hunter Renfroe at number 10 too on my list. This dude has just been super solid, really pretty super consistent pretty much his entire career. He doesn't have a high average, but he hits a lot of home runs, hits a lot of doubles, plays really good defense. Like Christian said, his arm is unreal in the outfield. Had 11 outfield assists last year. Um, this dude's gonna be a really nice piece for the Angels this year after being traded
Mhm.
there from Milwaukee. So I'm really excited to see how he's gonna be in this lineup.
Yeah, I feel like him, in my opinion, being given an opportunity to have a bigger role, I think that could potentially be good for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this season as well. But for this next guy, I'm also looking forward to seeing him in 2023 with a new team. You got Teoscar Hernandez of the Seattle Mariners. Still feels kind of weird to say. He was just a Blue Jay last year, and I thought he was going to be. I've said this before. I thought he was going to be a core piece for them. Yeah, considering he's pretty young and solid in my opinion. But this is going to be a solid piece for Seattle as they're trying to take the next step. They just reached the postseason last year for the first time in a while, and I think Teoscar could definitely be an impact for that next step. He definitely brings a solid bat to the plate, and that pop when he's hot, I think that could be a major impact for them.
Oh, yeah, and I think part of the reason why they traded him is because Toronto wanted to get a little more left-handed, bats in their lineup. They were
Hmm.
really right-handed heavy last year, so getting Brandon Belt, getting Dalton Varsho, and Kevin Kiermaier, that adds 3 left-handed bats to that lineup, so that's probably one reason why they traded
Yeah.
him. But I have Teoscar Hernandez at number 9 too. This guy has had 2 really solid seasons, put together back to back. He batted .267 last year, had a .316 on base percentage, doesn't walk that much, he had 25 homers, 77 RBIs, and had a career high in 35 doubles last year. It's a pretty decent amount of doubles and got a pretty good arm in the outfield. These guys who are in right field usually typically have the best arm in the field.
Hmm.
This guy had 10 outfield assists last year. It's really good. If you get over 10 assists from the outfield in a season, I mean, that's really good. Honestly, if you get more than 5, that's really good. But
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing Teoscar Hernandez in Seattle because this team looks like it's going to be so much fun to watch this year.
Without a doubt, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him next to Julio out there. Julio, obviously, that's his team. Looking forward. I'm excited for Seattle for sure. But for my number 8 right fielder in baseball, I've got Starling Marte of the New York Mets. Kind of similar to Renfro, honestly, a little higher rated in my opinion. He's been solid for a few years now. Broke through with Pittsburgh. He was really fun to watch back then, and I'm kind of glad to see him maintaining throughout his career. He's coming off of a really solid 2022 season. He had a 4 WAR season, batting average of 292, and honestly, what he brings to the table now, a bit of a step back in pop, but he gets on base and he provides a really solid glove out there in right field. Especially that he's moving from center field. Obviously, center field, in my opinion, and I feel like the general consensus is that's the hardest outfield position. So having experience there, I think, is going to help after a little bit of an adjustment. So Marte in right field, I think that's going to be a solid move for the Mets.
Oh, definitely a solid move. Moved him over to right. Especially you got Brandon Nimmo in center field, who's a pretty good center fielder himself. But I have Starling Marte at number 8 myself too. This dude has just been consistent his entire career. Literally since he got called up, I think in 2011 or 2012 with Pittsburgh. Then he went to Oakland. I kind of thought that was a really weird signing for him because they really weren't doing anything. And then he got traded to the Miami Marlins COVID year when they
Mhm.
made the playoffs, which I thought was even more weird. But
Yeah.
then he got traded to the Mets and has been really solid there. He has a career average of 290, and last year he batted 292. He pretty much was on par with all of his career stats. They actually all were more than his career stat line. He batted 292, 347, 468, and 815. Really solid to be honest for him. One thing with him is his speed has not gone anywhere, to be honest. He's
Mhm.
still super fast. He only had 18 stolen bases last year, but I think the year before he had in the 40s. So I know last year he had a little trouble with hamstrings and stuff. So maybe he can get back up into that 30 stolen base category. So I'd love to see that. I just really like starring Marte, even though he's on the Mets.
To be honest, it's not a big deal. A big reason I like him is his batting stance. I like how he flicks the bat a good bit,
hmm
and he's just got a smooth swing following that up. I've been a fan of Marte for a while now. But for my number 7 right fielder in the MLB, it kind of feels weird mentioning him in the bottom half, knowing what his reputation is. But I've got George Springer of the Toronto Blue Jays. Um, yeah, knowing what he's capable of, he could easily be higher for me. But it's just he hasn't had the best of luck health wise with Toronto, and he's coming off of a really solid 2022. I know that. It's just for a full season, if I could see him piece together something that's Houston esque of George Springer, he could easily be top 5. But as of now, I think seven's appropriate.
Yeah, it honestly is a little weird seeing George Springer out of the top 5, honestly, especially because we know how he is. If you put him in the playoffs, so this dude probably jumps up to number 1 out of all these guys.
Hmm.
I'll talk about him in a little more in a second, though. But at number 7, I have Fernando Tatis Jr. He's going to be the right fielder this year for the San Diego Padres, and I know last week I talked about Jazz not playing center field yet, but I think Fernando Tatis Jr. is just 10 times better than what Jazz is. What he brings to the plate at the plate is unreal. His 2021 stat line, 42 home runs, 31 doubles, 99 runs scored, 25 RBIs, batted 282 with a 364 on base percentage, 611 slugging percentage, and a 975 OPS. I mean, dude is out of this world. And that was only in like 130 games. So if he
Hmm.
plays like 20 more, dude could have hit like 50. So I will say one thing, I don't know how he's going to adjust to being an outfielder because we have seen him in the outfield at times and it hasn't looked pretty, but I think he's gotten some more work under it and he's going to be suspended for the first I think 10 or 20 games of the season. So he'll get a little more work maybe with that, but I mean this dude is a premier talent with the bat and he's got a cannon from shortstop, so maybe that'll translate to right field.
Yeah, spot on with what you said about Tatis, and I actually have him at 6. Interesting. I know it's interesting to put him over Springer right now, especially with all the controversy. Uh, us, all the controversy aside, what Alex just said about what he provides at the plate, I can't deny it. It's MVP level. So yeah, I have to put Tatis at 6. I'm a fan of Tatis throughout all the controversy and stuff. I'm critical of him for sure, but still a fan because he's young and I feel like he's gonna right his wrongs eventually. And I'm excited to see him be implemented into this lineup once they put him in right. Then Soto goes back to left, and I know it gets a little ugly out there in the outfield, but it got ugly at shortstop. So like, I don't think it can get
21 errors at 2021. Not good.
not good at all. So I feel like it may look ugly at times, but since it's not as much action, I guess, as shortstop, uh, that defensive liability is not going to be as noticeable.
And the bat will definitely make up for it.
Without a doubt.
And we don't have his picture for him, obviously, because they didn't know he was gonna be in right field, and
Mm,
everyone thought Soto was. So we don't have his picture for him. But at number 6 for me, actually, I have Christian had at number 7. I have George Springer. I just couldn't put Springer behind Tatis because Tatis hasn't really played in the outfield that much, and we
Mhm,
know what George Springer is capable of too. Last year he actually played 133 games, which is the most he's played in a while. So he was a little more healthy last year. I know he was on the IL for one stint last year, but put up pretty solid numbers, pretty much to his career average. Last season he batted 267, and then 269 is his career average. So I mean he's pretty much on pace with it. The power was just down a little bit last year. His career high is 39 home runs, and he hit 25 last year. I don't think we'll ever see him get back to that 39 home runs, but I can definitely see him
mhm.
cracking 30 again.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Honestly, 35 on the high end. I'm just excited to see Springer, hopefully get back to form and Tatis to just get back on the field in general. But now entering our top 5, this guy at number 5 cooked in the World Series, and he's been good for a couple years now for sure. I got Kyle Tucker of the Houston Astros. Big fan of him. He's got interesting. He's interesting at the plate. I Even though he's a lefty and he's got a nice swing, I don't really like his stance. And the fact that he wears no batting gloves, he just kind of seems like a menace to me. But he's a beast, though. He provides quality defense in right field and a really plus bat because it's not all power. I think he's got pretty close to a complete bat, capable of breaking 30 home runs like he has before, but just being a threat at the plate in multiple aspects. And Kyle Tucker, he's also got youth on his side too. He's not necessarily too old. He's still only 26 years old. Uh, Definitely a young part of the Astros core, and I'm just excited to see him. Looking forward because obviously we're going to be seeing him in the postseason plenty.
Yeah, I have Kyle Tucker at number 5 too. I absolutely love Kyle Tucker. Absolutely went off in the World Series last year and the playoffs in general. Um, Really kind of I wouldn't say struggled at the beginning of his career, but wasn't what he is now and what everyone expected. And if anyone know who Preston Tucker is, this is his little brother. Preston Tucker was kind of a journeyman in MLB. Wasn't the greatest player, but Kyle has really, really been a good player. Like Christian said, doesn't use any batting gloves, and I absolutely love that because I mean that's just old school right there. Just grab some dirt off the ground, rub it in your hands, and let's get in the box. But this dude had 25 stolen bases last year. I did not realize he
Oh,
had that many, which is actually a lot. So see if maybe he can get to 30 next year. Maybe not, but Kyle Tucker is definitely one of the best right fielders in all of baseball.
dang, that's actually pretty realistic that he's in the 30-30 conversation. I wasn't expecting to know this before this video, but that's another thing. Another reason why he's at number 5 for me for sure. But for number 4, I got your guy, Alex. Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. Easily, easily top 3 potential talent wise. The only thing is, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's still getting back into full form from the ACL tear, and honestly, it's kind of looking like it this offseason. I've seen some clips of him sending balls to the absolute moon, and I'm just looking forward to seeing Ronald Acuna back to form because Ronald Acuna, not even one of the best young guys in baseball, just one of the best players in baseball, and seeing him on the field, that's just going to be good for baseball. Like I said, top 3 potentially easy. Don't be surprised if he's top 3 after the season.
Yeah, honestly, I would not be surprised if he cracks the top 3, gets up to number 2, maybe even no, maybe even number 1. He is honestly that capable of
Hmm.
doing that, even though we know who is gonna be at number 1. But I've got Ronald Acuna Jr. at number 4 too. I just need to see Acuna get back to his normal form before I can put him up higher. Last year, the power was really down. Like Christian said, he was recovering from that ACL, and he just had no, really no power in that leg. He said his knee was bothering him pretty much the entire season. That kind of sucks that we rushed him back because we really did not even need to rush him back because we were fine. But this dude is capable of putting up 40-40. Honestly. He
Yeah.
had 41 homers and 37 RBIs a couple of years ago, or not 37 RBIs, 37 stolen bases. So he is capable. Honestly, thought he was going to get there, but didn't really steal much at the end of that season. So I'm looking for a 40-40 year from Ronald Acuna this year.
Honestly, I feel what you're saying. It's a little hard to argue against the guys that are at the top, but when it comes to talent wise, yeah, they might have a better resume as a whole. Not going to spoil, of course. Uh, but I feel like it's within Acuna's capabilities of having a better single season for sure. Honestly, it's Acuna, like you just said, 40-40. Somebody who's putting up a 40-40, that's a top 3 MVP vote, in my opinion. Just depends on who else is cooking up in their league. But Acuna, back to full form, that's just a must for baseball. But getting into the top 3 now, this right here, this top 3 was interesting because a lot of MVP awards. And surprisingly, this guy at number 3, he has the most MVPs of these 3. You got Bryce Harper of the Philadelphia Phillies. Obviously, we're not going to be seeing Bryce Harper for about the first half of the season. He got Tommy John after the World Series. And luckily, he's a position player, though, so I feel like that process isn't going to be as grueling as, say, for a pitcher. Um, my thing is, Bryce Harper, when he's hot, we just saw him in this past postseason. Dude was a monster up until, I guess you could say, the World Series. And even then, stepped up in a couple moments for them. But when you're carrying for that long, I guess it'll get to you eventually. But Bryce Harper, this man has been a phenom since he was in high school. We've known about Bryce Harper since we were kids, and
He's like LeBron pretty much. He was the cover
exactly,
child on Sports Illustrated.
exactly. And I'm not gonna say he's filled the shoes of LeBron James, but Bryce Harper is definitely on track to being a Hall of Famer, first ballot, in my opinion. He's already got 2 MVPs under his belt. His 2015 season being one of the best seasons in modern baseball. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to him being back for this second half.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to Bryce Harper this year, especially when he comes back. I have him at number 3 too. I know it may be a little questionable putting him there, but it is Bryce Harper. We know what he
Exactly.
was capable of. He won an MVP in 2021. His numbers were absolutely unreal. Then in 2022, he was honestly on pace. I wouldn't say to have an MVP season again, but his numbers were great last year. He played
Hmm.
99 games in the regular season, batted 286. One thing I love about Bryce Harper, he walks a shit ton, gets
Hmm.
intentional walks, so his 364 on base percentage was really good. Um, he had 18 home runs and 28 doubles. 28 doubles in 99 games is a lot of doubles, to be honest. So this
Hmm.
dude was on pace to have a lot of extra base hits last year, and I really hope he does get back to right field. I know that they are trying to put him back in right field, so that's why we have him on this list. So I really hope that happens. But I know Tommy John may play a little factor into that.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, what teams ask for in their right fielder, a strong arm. That's usually a big deal. And we know Bryce Harper has a cannon when his arm is healthy. But yeah, Tommy John, that could do it to you. But Bryce Harper, I know I mentioned it about Acuna, but Bryce Harper has top 2 potential when it comes to right field. It's just about putting a full healthy season together before I could say that. But before we get into our top 2, a couple quick honorable mentions. Mine are the guy who's going to be holding up right field until Harper's back. I got Nick Castellanos of the Philadelphia Phillies, and I've got Alex Verdugo of the Boston Red Sox.
And honestly, those are two solid guys who could possibly crack the top 10 at some point this season. But for me, my honorable mentions are Mitch Haniger of the San Francisco Giants and Seiya Suzuki of the Chicago Cubs. Now, Seiya Suzuki is going to start this year on the IL. He's not going to play in the World Baseball Classic either
Mhm.
because he got a little hurt. But I think these two guys, really all four guys we said, are super solid.
Oh yeah, as Alex said, these guys could crack this top 10 for sure. Especially Nick Castellanos. Well, from what we've seen from him before, I'm just hoping he could get back to form because he's been struggling with Philly, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but
But
that defense kind of hinders him.
yeah, that's the thing. It's not like he's making up for it, unless it's the postseason though, because then that guy his 2022 postseason.
Or if there's,
Def
like, breaking news or something, like, I don't know. He always hits a
oh man,
home run when there's some breaking news.
yeah. Uh,
A
it would
deep
kind
drive to left.
Yeah. Oh my God. That announcer, I don't think he's smelt another game after that, but uh, that's why I mentioned Castellanos because he is an icon in
He's
baseball
exciting.
memes without a doubt. But our top 2, I feel like a little obvious to be honest because these guys have just been some of the best baseball players past half decade for sure. Number 2, I've got Mookie Betts of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The guy who Red Sox fans are still hurting over that he left. I'm playing. I'm playing.
You had to get a shot off.
This is just a little jab, but all in good fun. But Mookie Betts, this guy honestly, it's wild to say he's like a borderline generational talent to me. The thing is with Mookie that I really love is that he's undersized when you think about it, but he just brings so much to the table. And the thing is with Mookie, I love it when he flashes the pop because it's so smooth and sometimes he sends balls like fucking not from what you would expect from a guy his size. But Mookie Betts, as I said, he brings it everywhere in the game. He's a five-tool player, premier glove and arm, premier power. I don't want to say premier power, premier sneaky power, premier contact. Obviously, his MVP season, this man had a batting average. What was it like 346?
346
Dog. In modern baseball,
in
that
150 something games.
yeah. Mookie Betts 2018 for the Boston Red Sox. Dog. It was out of pocket just because of like what we knew about Mike Trout and what he's already done. But like the type of seat performance he had that season, it's like, wow, is this guy competing for the best player in baseball? And he has been in the mix since then. Kind of little bit of a step back. Obviously, he had his 2021 wasn't really great. I know he had some injuries involved, but Mookie Betts, we know what he's capable of. He could honestly, after 2023, maybe have the number one spot. But I'm gonna say no to that.
No, yeah, I can see why you say no to that, but I have Mookie at 2 too. Mookie Betts is just one of the best players in all of baseball. I personally think he is a top 5 player in all of baseball. I think
Mhm.
1 and 2 on this list are both top 5 players in baseball, but this dude, what can he not do, honestly, on a
That's the
baseball
thing.
field? Like, that's the thing. Like, he can throw, he can play defense, he can steal, he can hit for power, he can hit for contact, he can hit an opposite way, he can pull it. And another thing about him, they might have him play a little second base this year
That's the
since Gavin Lux got hurt, and they may be kind of shuffling around. This dude can just do absolutely everything. I don't even know if there's really too much more to say about Mookie Betts. The only thing I'm going to say, I'm going to throw out a bold prediction right now for Mookie Betts this year. He's going to be the second player ever to win MVP in both leagues this year. Frank Robinson's the only other player to do that, and I think that he is going to do it this year.
ooh, I could see that. And the thing is, Mookie he's that kind of guy. He could definitely do that. One more thing I want to say about Mookie too. Dude is just an athlete. I don't know if y'all have seen clips about it. This man could dunk like it's
Dunk.
nothing. He's just done things in multiple like sports, even though he wasn't competing. I guess you could say in those clips for sure. But
Yeah.
from what we've seen, that man is an athlete. I do not want to run any sort of pickup basketball at LA Fitness against Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
But
the only downside to Mookie is his hairline, to be honest. It's kinda going away. I'm sorry, but I had to say that.
damn. Hey, when you're a top two right fielder in all of baseball, little hairline ain't never hurt nobody. Jordan didn't have no hairline at his peak, so
Facts. That's
hey,
facts.
facts. But feels weird to say this. As much as we just gassed up Mookie, my guy Aaron Judge, best right fielder in baseball, no hesitation, without a doubt. They have him rated at number 2, which is appropriate because Shohei Ohtani exists in all of baseball, but he won MVP over Shohei Ohtani last year. Ha. No, but seriously, with Aaron Judge, if we're talking about historic seasons, last year is one that like honestly stands out in the history books. Hit 311 with an OPS of 1111. Uh,
Insane.
yeah, breaking the American League home run record, 62 home runs. Um, Alex, can you do me a favor and tell me what stats he was leading in? Because
Yeah, I got them written down right here. I know
yeah,
I've been waiting to read this off all
yeah,
day, to be honest. Okay, so I have Aaron Judge at number 1 too, but
yeah.
last year Aaron Judge, absolutely historic season. He led the MLB in home runs, RBIs, runs scored, on base percentage, OPS, OPS plus, total bases, and WAR. And OPS plus is
No.
kind of a weird stat, but it's actually a really really important stat that
Mm-hmm.
takes in ballpark factors, weather, and on base percentage and slugging. It takes in a lot of different factors, and it's a really, really cool stat if you actually want to go look it up.
Yeah, the thing I love about it is that they have the major league average set at 100. They get that
Hmm.
stat put together, and then whatever over and under you are from 100, that's how much better or worse you are than an average major league player. And I feel like with like taking that context, that gives a real solid idea of how good a guy is at the plate. So Aaron Judge leading the MLB in OPS plus probably by a wide margin, and the rest of the stats probably by a decent margin. The man was in a triple crown race until the end. Unfortunately, I believe it was Luis Arias had to ruin that for him.
Hmm.
Uh, Regardless, though, I don't think that takes away one bit from how insane of a season Aaron Judge had last year. I know some people might be still a little salty about it. Clear cut the MVP over Otani last year, even though Otani was insane. Um, my thing is, with Judge, I don't want to get pessimistic with this, but he is aging a little bit. Not that he's getting old; he's still in his prime, but he's just getting deeper into his prime. And all I can say is I don't know how much of a window we have of this Aaron Judge, but we got to appreciate it while it's here.
Yeah, we definitely got to appreciate it. And one thing I really liked about him last season is he was kind of juggling between center field and right
Mm-hmm.
field. And that's something super hard to do, especially at his size, playing center field, covering all that ground. And he made 0 errors in the outfield last year. So that's even more impressive. And then being able to do what he did at the plate last year while juggling those two positions is really, really impressive to me, to be honest. So it just shows maturity out of him, and this dude is just going to go out there and play. But I mean, Aaron Judge at number one, I don't think that's a question right now, even
Mm-hmm.
though that Mookie Betts is right there below, which is crazy to say. But Aaron Judge is definitely the number one right fielder in all of baseball.
Number one position player too. Sorry, not sorry. I'm kidding. Unless we get a full season from Mike Trout, doing Mike Trout things, of course, then you could take that away. But as of right now, going into 2023, my guy Judge is number one in my opinion.
This was honestly a really, really fun list to come up with. Honestly, all these lists have been really fun to come up with. We've finished our position players now. We're going to move on to DH after this and then go into relief and starting pitchers, which is going to be super fun. But we hope that y'all have been enjoying this series, kind of ranking top 10 players at each position. If you have, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and turn on notifications. You know, when we post more content like this, even if it's related to the WBC or boxing.
Oh yeah, a whole lot coming up with both boxing and the WBC. Really looking forward to this WBC. We don't get this every year, so something to look forward to for sure. And just looking forward to this 2023 season in general too. 2022 was a great year. Obviously, that's what placed a lot of people on this list right now. Some people had insane seasons, and hoping they could replicate that in 2023 or see some new guys shoot up these lists. That would be exciting. But appreciate y'all tuning into this series, and we're not done yet. But we got the position players, we got them covered up. And if you guys want, you can find us on any of our social medias as well. Let us know if there's anybody that we left off the list or some hot takes you guys got. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at ATNW Podcast. And if you want, you can find my personal Instagram and Twitter at Christian_S52.
And you can find mine at ahandy2215.
Hey, position players done, and now it's just time to see them prove our rankings. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to a sneak peek with this WBC, man. But until then, peace.
Peace.